10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician Chris Aceto on this final day of 2018. That's December 31st. Actually, New Year's Eve. Luckily for us, we're going to get the show in just like a couple seconds right before the clock turns and it becomes 2019. So this is our official last show of the year. We actually do a show every single week, Chris. So for us, it's important that we don't short ourselves one show.
Yeah, Jay just texted me and said, "Don't forget, you have like 20 minutes left for any 2018 tax deductions."
Do you know what the longest running show like on TV was? I don't know if it still is.
Let me get. It's outside of 60 Minutes.
Yeah, you'd never
MASH.
guess it in a million years.
Was it MASH?
I'm talking like talk shows, talk shows.
Oh, talk shows. Was it the Tonight Show or Mike Douglas?
You'd never guess it. It was like the Joe Franklin show. Remember the Joe Franklin show?
That was way before. Nope.
Joe Franklin had a show on Channel 9 in New York. I don't know what it was every place else. And it was almost a joke. It was like, matter of fact, Woody Allen spoofed it in one of his movies. He had Joe Franklin on the thing, and they would get good guests in the show, but he was so dry and so boring. But the show ran for like 20-something years or something like that. Like every night, he never missed a show.
Well, back in the day, there were like 3 TV stations, right? So there wasn't a ton of competition. And then came a few spin-offs, then like cable with 10 stations, and then here we are with iPhones, and you can watch anything you want.
Everyone's got a podcast nowadays, right?
Well, yeah, that, and it gives you, an iPhone will give you an attention span of like 30 seconds for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? People have no attention span anymore.
Oh, no. I was talking to some woman in the store today, in the bagel store, and I was saying how people don't read anymore. She was like, I don't know how we got to talk about writing a book. I said, I wouldn't even waste my time writing a book. No one will even read it. People don't read. I don't think kids read anymore, do they? I said my son watches videos. Not that he's old enough to read anyway, but I don't know did they make kids read in school?
No, they have. My kids at home did cursive writing.
Yeah, but you say they don't teach that, right, in school?
No, the teachers were dumbfounded when they went to school this year and they wrote their names in cursive, and they're like, well,
I thought they have to teach you that. How do you sign your name otherwise?
You print it.
You're allowed to print your name now?
Yeah, or DocuSign, in the
Oh, that's true. No one will actually be signing anything anymore, right? So
right.
I forgot about that.
So, and now I think they have a program, I saw it somewhere, where it will correct, like if I'm writing a letter to you, like an email letter,
right?
It will make all the sentences correct, the spelling correct, it'll clean up the letter for you so that it sounds professional.
Really?
So you can be like a Dumbo, and I can be writing like perfect grammar English letters to you, or whether it be business or.
Joe Franklin's show ran from 1962 to 93. So that was 31 years. I bet you Bob Grushin watched him.
Yep, I'm sure. 31 years, yeah.
That's pretty good.
I posted a picture. You see it on my Instagram. Oh, we talked about 35 years ago recently.
It's crazy.
That dated me.
Yeah. But imagine every single week doing five shows a week for 31 years. That's crazy.
Well,
and no one even knows who he is. That's the funny thing. Yeah. Except people from New York, probably.
Yeah. Well, Howard Stern was on for. How long was Howard Stern on continuously?
He's on, yeah, but he doesn't do a show. He does like 2 shows a week now. But Joe Franklin just died actually January of 2015. He was 88. So. Yeah, they actually listed it. He said Joe Franklin also played himself in Woody Allen's Broadway Danny Rose. Yeah, they spoofed him in that. Billy Crystal famously parodied Joe Franklin's look and rapid fire style on Saturday Night Live in the early 80s, too. So There you guys go. I gave you a little historical perspective. You know, I'm sick of doing year-end wrap-up shows, but I guess you got to do it at the end of the year for the last of the year. That's true. So I guess we can suck it up. Suck it up for that. But I thought it was a good year. I think it was a productive year. When you compare it, we had a deaths, obviously, but we didn't have a lot of deaths, I guess. The year before that was really bad with the Rich Piana loss. So I was trying to think of the stories, and I probably should have, taken some time and done it, but I really didn't. You and I kind of jotted down what we thought.
Well, the hardcore stories people like.
Yeah, we wrote the hardcore stories down. We didn't really write necessarily the most impactful stories. We didn't get into the
gossip stories like this. You could go on and find out there's a Facebook war we forgot to talk about.
Right. Exactly. It's funny. I don't even want to. I was gonna tell you something. I don't want to give this person any kind of acknowledgement on the air. I don't think they're worth it. From now on, I'm charging for acknowledgement, especially from people I don't like. I will say one thing. I've been getting a lot of cool T-shirts. I always tell people, if you send me a T-shirt, I'll wear it on the air. At least once. If I like it a lot, I'll probably wear it multiple times. And it's funny, some of the people who you least suspect, I wear the T-shirt all the time because I just happen to like it or it fits me well or something like that.
Yeah,
I've been getting some wacky T-shirts I've been getting.
I was in Publix 3 days ago, and I had in Miami, and I had on a Be Humble T-shirt on, which was given to me by Reagan Grimes. And of course, some guy comes up who looks like, I'll exaggerate a little bit, but he was like 100 pounds overweight. But he's probably somebody who follows, he was like a huge Reagan Grimes fan.
Right.
So he had to spot me and say, Chris. And I turned, and then he said, "You wearing Reagan Grimes shirt?" So I'm looking like, who's...
let me stop you.
Yelling at me?
He probably said, Chris, you're wearing a Regan Grimes shirt, because if he was a super fan, he probably knows how to pronounce his name.
Yeah. I'll master Regan Grimes. So I thought it was funny, and then I was going to text Regan and tell him, and I didn't. And then 2 days later, out of the blue, he texted me, and I sent him the picture of me wearing the shirt. I said, "You're not going to believe this," because I took a picture to send to him to tell him the story. I said, "Nah, he's not even going to believe it." I should take a picture of the guy, his fan, right? Because when I turned in the grocery store, like where'd that come from? Like I'm expecting to see maybe
you should have taken it. You should have done an instant. You see, Chris, you're dropping the ball. When you get guys who come up to you like that, you have to make them famous, because it probably took a little bit of balls to say hello to you. You take a picture and you put it on your Instagram.
Oh, I thought you could tell me I had to Instagram story it, which I haven't figured out.
I won't do that. Amanda does it. What everyone likes when I do it, but I'm too addicted. I have too much of an addictive personality, and if I start doing it, I'm going to have to do it all the time, like Jay does it. And I just don't have the time. I don't want to get sucked into another ritual. I have to adhere to. I have too many rituals already.
Yeah, no, they're not even rituals; they're addictions.
If you saw my rituals before I went to bed, I can't just lay in bed and go. I know how you lay down on the couch, you go to sleep. I can't do it. I got to take contacts out. I got to wash my face. I got to wash my hair. I don't like to lay in bed.
I know. You've stayed at my condo where you.
See me. You know my rituals. I got to take Fiberlize. I got to brush my teeth. I got to floss. And there's always another ritual being it. Now I got my shoulder. I got to wash the shoulder off. I got to disinfect it and. I got like 400 rituals. I can't get to sleep anymore. I got to take my contacts out. I got to rinse them. Now I set up my clothes for tomorrow. I got to take out what I'm going to wear so I can. Because what happens is in the morning I'm sleeping downstairs and Amanda's up there with the kids. Until they completely become self-sufficient. And what I do as soon as I wake up, I blast into the bathroom and try to do all my. I got to shave. I got to put my contacts in. I got to wash up. I got to take a shower. And I got to get dressed. I can't spare a minute. And now I have the shoulder kind of handy. I got to slow down a little bit so I don't hurt myself. And then I got to sprint upstairs so that when they're taking a shower. You
got to post a video of that. You're sleeping on the couch, and then bing, alarm clock goes off, and then you rush into the.
Yeah. Actually, the first week or week and a half after the surgery, I've been freezing. I became my dad. I was cranking the heat up to 88, 78, excuse me, in the room. She's like, "You get the heat on. We're in Florida. It's 85 degrees." I said, "I'm freezing." I said, "I don't know what the problem is. I'm getting night sweats." I said, "I don't know. My body's just messed up. Probably the anesthesia is still coming out of my body." So last night, at 4 a.m, my body must have just normalized itself. It said, okay, we're done. And I was sweating. I'm like, what the fuck? Why is it so hot in here? And the heat was up to 78 as it always is. I lowered it back down and I put the air conditioning on, and I've been normal since then. So who knows? That anesthesia stuff is bad news. I'm telling you. Can't be good for you.
Come to my house, I have wood burning and it's like 90. So when it's down to like 72 with the regular baseboard heat, I'm freezing to death because the difference.
Well, yeah, but you also it's also 20 degrees outside, and here it's 85 degrees. It's warmer outside than it is inside my house, and I got heat on. So it's so stupid. So anyway, that's just my. So yeah, I get too many rituals. I don't need any more rituals. I don't need to be going on Instagram Live. The thing I don't like about it either is the story's only there for 48 hours. So I'm doing all these videos. I'm not even like keeping them or anything like that. No one even knows about them 2 days later. So.
Oh, I didn't know that. See.
Yeah, that's what that's the one turnoff. Probably if they stayed there, I'd probably do them. But. So I use that as my excuse why I don't do Instagram Lives on a regular basis. Sometimes I'll do it. If I'm just in a goofy mood, I might do one. But just like if I feel like... Because what happens is my Instagram Lives wind up being Q&A. Ask Dave,
Oh, yeah.
And I get sucked into asking the questions. And these people are firing them off like every second I'm getting another question. And I'm trying to answer them. Boom, 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 boom. Before I know it, 40 minutes has passed. And I don't even... I get like a headache from doing so many of them.
I jumped on one of them, and I try to make
you did jump
something funny, and it's like there's questions one after another. Hey, Dave, what do you think of?
They're like, Aceto, can you shut up? We want to know how to inject this into the head of our penis right now.
No, Dave, can you reiterate shooting the outer head of the quad? Are you sure?
My quad's sure I should do it.
Yeah. That I can't do that.
Oh my god, yeah, it's pretty funny. There was a study that came out. I don't know if you saw this. Let me see this. There's a study that found that smelling your partner's farts will make you live longer. This is not a joke, by the way. Sounds like a joke, but researchers from the University of Exeter have determined that smelling your partner's farts do indeed have health benefits, though thanks to the hydrogen sulfide contained within them. Apparently, inhaling this can reduce the risk of various life-threatening illnesses like cancer, heart attacks, and strokes, as well as preventing arthritis and dementia in old age, helping to preserve mitochondrial function, which drives energy production in the blood cell vessels and regulates inflammation. And we know that.
Well, you got kids in diapers running around, so
I can smell their farts. Yeah. When cells become stressed with disease, they draw in enzymes to generate minute quantities of hydrogen sulfide. This keeps the mitochondria ticking over and allows cells to live. If this doesn't happen, the cells die and lose the ability to regulate their survival. We have exploited this natural process by making a compound called AP39. This AP39 will slowly deliver small amounts of this gas, this hydrogen sulfide gas, specifically to the mitochondria. The results of the study indicated that if stress cells are treated with AP39, mitochondria are protected and the cells stay alive. Of course, most of us aren't going to be able to get our hands on this AP39. Oh, they don't know the bodybuilding world very well. They'll be on the research chemicals site probably next week after I reveal this secret, right? I guess so. The next best thing they're saying is to inhale all the hydrogen sulfide that you can. That is anyone's farts who can happen to be in close proximity. Normally, that's more often than not going to be your partner. So the next time you feel the need to fart, just let it out and let them know it's for their own good. See, now, there's going to be people who watch this who are going to be smelling their own farts now. I wonder if you can fart, and smell your own farts, if it's the same thing.
We might need more research.
Yeah. So that's the useless fact of the week. I find some of this stuff interesting because it was done with a little, like a tongue in cheek, but there is actually some science here that they're showing that this hydrogen sulfide gas will actually keep the mitochondria protected. And after all, the mitochondria are the energy-producing organelles of all the cells. They oxidize fat in there. That's a tremendous amount of ATP is produced, and they find that the aging process has been linked to this breakdown of mitochondria. So if you can protect them better and make them a little healthier, then you'll live longer. So I see the logical jump here. It's not that far fetched, even though it sounds pretty funny. But I guarantee that AP, whatever that, what is that? Let me reiterate what the compound is. AP 39. I guarantee Boston Lloyd will be selling it next week on his peptide site. Oh my god!
They can bottle it with what was it? Carni Fuel.
First to market with carnitine. First to market. All right, let's talk about what we feel are the best, the most significant or memorable stories of 2009. Excuse me, I almost slipped there. 2018. We're not in a time machine. We're not going back in time. Let's start with number.
Jay just texted. He bought $1,000 worth of ink for his photocopier, so he can get the deduction now for.
So they left him off the Forbes list, huh?
Yeah.
I think
maybe you can make a Forbes like a Palumbo like list, like the Forbes list, but it won't be the Forbes 500. It'll be like the Palumbo 50. I started playing lottery tickets. Did I tell you that? No, you didn't.
Yeah. I have this.
Oh my gosh!
I'm going to say it here. I don't care. I don't feel like I'm going to jinx myself. I think I'm going to win. Been having this premonition that I'm going to win a big lottery ticket. I always told you this. I said I would win the lottery when I really didn't need it.
Yeah.
And I think I feel like I'm like at that point right now where I'm going to win the lottery. So I feel, well, if I don't act on it, then I'm stupid because, if you can't win if you don't play the ticket, right?
No, absolutely.
So what I do is I go and buy like a lotto ticket. Because I don't want to buy the Mega Millions. It's too much. I feel like it's too much pressure. I don't think I'll win a $250 million lottery, but I might win like a $5 million one. That's what my premonition seems to be. So I've been buying lottos because that's like around 4 or 5 million, 6 million, the most. And when I pick up the lotto ticket, I always buy the scratch offs. Now the scratch off market has changed. Have you bought a scratch off lottery ticket lately?
No, my father used to sell them at his store that I used to work at when I was a kid.
And how much do they cost?
They were $1 then. And
right.
The state took 50 cents and we took 50 cents. It was great.
Which is great. It's great.
That's why. That's when my first introduction to gambling. I thought, this is the easiest moneymaker in the store.
Yeah.
People walk in, they'll buy 50 tickets, hand me a $50 bill. I'll give them 50 tickets, and we make $25.
Yeah, and it was easy. So, another thing I find interesting is that you can only pay cash in Publix when you buy Florida State lottery tickets because it's separate fund. They can't run it on their credit card account because it doesn't go to them. It goes to Florida State, whatever. So I decided I'm going to buy a couple scratch-offs because I need instantaneous gratification. Well, because the lotto drawing is usually like a day or two away, and
Bob Gruskin used to play. By the way,
did he ever win?
He would always buy a couple tickets. No, he never won, but.
Back where Bob lived, they used to play the numbers, like on the street numbers, right?
Maybe that's
three numbers. Yeah.
The number. Yeah, I think you had to pick the numbers because they always have numbers. It might be like Doug Wentz's weight, my weight, Jerry Scalise's bench.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So I have my lotto tickets. I get my lotto, and then I go and buy a couple scratch offs. And I started with the cheapies. The one they used to They all used to be $1. Didn't matter what. As long as I can remember, they were only $1. Nowadays, they have $2 ones, they have $3 ones, they have $5, they have $10, they have $20. You can spend $20 on a scratch off. Can you believe it? So I didn't have the balls to buy the $20 one, but I bought the $5 one. I said, I'm going to buy a $5 one. I won 5 times on the $5 one. I won $12. Everything I won was like $2.
So you doubled your money.
I did, but I just invested it back into the thing, and I actually won again, another like $6 or something like that. So, and I bought a couple tickets for Amanda to scratch off, and I think she won like $4. So, it's a Ponzi scheme. They keep sucking you back in because you figure, well, I'll take that money. You're never going to keep the profits, right? You're just going to keep buying more tickets because you want to win the 5 or 10 or whatever $50,000 on those scratch offs that you can win. And here's the funny thing that I didn't even know about. Now, I go to turn the ticket in. Now, I won 5 times on the one card. So now I'm worried that the person's not going to catch it all, right? Because I'm going to give them the ticket. That's not how it works. There's a rub-off area on the very bottom of the card that no one knows about. Or maybe they do. And they rub it off the store members and they scan it. And the card is already in the computer. So they know exactly how much that card yields. They say, you won $12. I said, how'd you figure it out so fast? She's like, I scanned it. I said, now I know that there's no chance. It's all rigged because they know all the odds already ahead of time.
Yeah. Well,
but someone's got to win, right? So why not? Might not be me. So anyway, that's what I've been doing every week. I go to Publix, as you mentioned earlier. Publix, by the way, for people who don't know, is probably like I would say like one step right under Whole Foods.
Whole Foods.
It's way more affordable, but it's way more expensive than like say Walmart supermarkets down here or whatever the other ones are.
It's the number one grocery store in the United States for employee satisfaction for working there.
Oh, they really kiss your ass when you go in there. To the old people, they'll take the groceries to your car. They pack your stuff there. They're very nice in there. I actually enjoy shopping in there, but it is definitely
I've gone every day
expensive.
since I've been here in Miami. Every single day to Publix.
Well, you probably have one down the block, but we have Publix every like mile. There's like a Publix. I don't even know how they all stay in business. And especially given the fact that they have like, Target has its own supermarket in there. Walmart has a supermarket in there. And the Walmart is definitely cheaper. But
it's more pleasurable to shop.
Yeah, it's a nice experience. Public. I like going there. It's never crowded. It's
Dude, you're getting old when you enjoy. It's a nice experience to shop at Publix.
And it's right down the block.
20 years ago, you said, I was at the Sound Factory. How was it? It was the bomb. Now it's 20, 30
now it's
years
Publix.
later. I was Publix. How was it? It was incredible.
That's
you would have
right.
loved it.
That's right.
Saw Cormier and there.
They were actually opening the first Whole Foods in Fort Myers. Like, I don't know, they're spending like $1 billion on it.
I can't believe there's not one there.
Yeah, well, they just opened one up. I don't know. I didn't even know people had money around here, but I guess in Fort Myers they do. So, but I like Whole Foods. I like the experience. It feels I enjoy going in there. I feel very peaceful in there. They have great food, but it is a huge ripoff. I mean, I remember Kevin English told me. Remember Kevin English 202?
Of course,
yeah. Kevin told me that I helped him for one of his shows. And he told me that he was buying all his meats and fish at Whole Foods. I'm like, what is that costing you? Oh, it's like $22 a pound for filet mignon he was spending. Yep. And he was eating like a couple pounds a day. Yeah. Probably spending $80 a day on food.
Yeah, it's like whenever Eduardo Correa does a show, he runs off to spends like $3,000 at cooking his meat from for the last week only.
Okay. Just the last week's fine. Not the whole diet, though, right?
Well, he's in Brazil, so that's an experience for him. You like Publix, he likes to go.
So, now that we cleared the land next to us for the property we have, I am now we're now shopping. The next step is shopping. We're trying to figure out fencing, like what the fence.
What type? Yeah. Fencing's expensive.
I know. I haven't even priced it yet, and I can already imagine. So now this is what I'm thinking. We went through all these things. Wood, it rots.
Yeah.
But, the metal it falls down, and you can't put PVC really up here in Florida because of the winds with the hurricanes, and so I'm like, there's negatives and positives on everything. I like PVC because you don't have to do anything to it, but. So I'm thinking, why don't we just? I told the man, why don't we just build a wall?
He's doing steel slats now.
No, I want to just do a wall. Why can't I just build a cement wall around my fucking property, like a real compound type of thing? I would imagine it's probably way more expensive.
Your front driveway, you can get one of those, which I've always liked, gates.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the gates to the property.
Yeah, I won't put one on my property because we have too many deliveries and pickups because of the Dave Palumbo stuff I ship out of there. I don't want to have to keep opening the gate every fucking time a guy wants to come in. But the other property, I think I want to put a wall around it. I'm thinking because I want to put animals in there. You know what my newest animal is? I don't think I mentioned this on the last show. Did I tell you I want to get a zebra?
Dave, I swear I was going to guess because it sounds so zany. You didn't let me guess. I guessed something right before the show. I swear I was.
You sure we didn't talk about this last week?
No, we did not.
I can't remember.
We did not.
I've been researching and I'm like, I want something different. And there's this woman about an hour and a half from him. She breeds zebras. And I'm like, how cool would that be to have a zebra? And you know what the funny thing is?
Kids love them.
They're not even that expensive. There's no animal out there that's that expensive compared to what I pay for my fucking snakes. If you saw it, the snakes are way more expensive. So for a couple $grand, you get a zebra. I mean, it's the same price as a dog. This woman has a male zebra, and I think you got to put them together though, or keep them with a couple horses or something like that. But I'm not ready to pick them up right yet because I still have to get fencing. Zebras you can get in Florida, but you have to have a Class 3 license. Now I happen to have a Class 3 license because I breed snakes, so that takes care of that. You also need a 6-foot fence because I think they're jumpers, which I don't mind either because I really want a big fence around the property so no one's going to be peering in. So I was thinking about zebras, but then I also did a little research and I found that they can be nippy and they could be a little bucky, and I don't want to get. I'm not even worried about my kids. I'm worried about myself getting kicked.
They're not little docile. They got to do something.
So I'm afraid that they could be a little wild. So that might be. I really want them though. I mean, I was looking at pictures of them. I'm like, oh, this would be great.
Yeah, they're
beautiful. And then Amanda's like, well, can't we get like an elephant? So I said, yeah, the problem with the elephant, I have a friend who imports like wild animals for very wealthy people, and he can get an elephant. I think it would be like $500,000 though, like to get an elephant from Africa. The problem is not that I would spend that $500,000, but the problem is that you need like a 15,000 pound, like, a fence that could withstand 15,000 pounds or something like that.
Yeah, you must need some type of pool or something. And
I don't know. No, you need like a real wall probably, which would coincide with my desire to put up a real wall. But it's going to be like building a castle around my property.
I told you when I went to the alligator farm last week. I said, "This is nothing. Dave's going to have this." I was right. You think you were right on the hidden
I was jealous.
I keep saying that you're going to have that.
I want it. I would do it in a second. I'm kind of jealous because this guy Brian Barczyk, who has an animal channel. He opened the Reptarium. He's calling it the Reptarium. It's like a zoo for reptiles, and he just picked up a albino and a melanistic or black looking baby alligator, and they're really cute. They're like 6 inches, super cute. So I was watching this. I'm like, oh man, I'd love to have that. And then I'm thinking, I got alligators in my backyard. Now they're not albinos, but then I'm thinking, wait a second. He went to the alligator farm that he picked it up at in Tampa, which is not too far from here. And I saw the parents. They're like fucking huge. I'm like, this guy's out of his mind. These alligators will grow that big eventually,
Oh yeah.
Too dangerous. I don't want that. Too dangerous. So no, we're not doing no alligators. I'm not really into horses that much, to be honest with you. Too much work.
Yeah, my cousin had horses. There were tons of work.
Yeah. The goats are kind of like everyone does goats. They eat everything basically. So I don't know about that. We thought maybe pigs. Amanda and I kind of both on the same page with cows. We're like, man, yeah, I like those Belgian blues. The ones that have no myostatin. They're really muscular. I'm thinking about getting a color. I actually passed a ranch the other day when I was driving up to my doctor's office, and I saw some Belgian blues actually running around outside. So I guess they're available up here somewhere. So that's a possibility. But the problem is we cleared the land, but there's no grass left. I gotta plant grass. Otherwise, what the hell are the cows gonna eat? So we'll see. That's my newest projects, just figuring out stuff like that. And
Palumbo's pet land. Palumbo's
yeah,
pet land.
Yeah. I figure I could just open my own zoo, and it's when I'm old and gray, and I'll sit back and.
No, wait. When your son's in kindergarten, his whole class can come.
That's what I need the lottery ticket for. If I win the lottery ticket, I can just do it the right way.
I know that you'd be out there in a second.
Yeah, then I can justify. Because I'm like, well, it's not my money anyway. I'm just going to open this thing up.
Yeah.
Build it, and he will come. That's what they say. All right, so let's get to the stories of 2018. I keep saying 19. I'm glad I do, because I always, whenever it turns to the next year, I always keep thinking it's the year before. So now that I'm already like saying 2019, I'm not going to stop myself, because I don't want to. It's only like a couple hours away anyway.
I'll still put 2018 on checks until like July.
Yeah, of course. I think I want to start with this story. Let's start with the beginning of the year, because the Arnold Classic was the beginning of the year, and William Bonac won the Arnold Classic, and I think that really cemented Bonac's legitimacy to the throne, so to speak. I mean, he was legitimate. He was third last year at the Olympia, which a lot of people, myself and you, thought he should have been second. He comes off that, that really super high placing, comes in, wins the Arnold in a very impressive fashion,
Yeah, he was impressive.
I mean, he beat some good guys. He beat Rulli. And I think that he really cemented the fact that he was a legitimate guy who was going to be around for the next, so many years, and that he was a legitimate guy who could possibly win the Olympia. I think that really set the tone, so to speak, for his legacy. I don't know, how he's going to do in the future. Obviously, he had a slightly off Olympia. I think he was disappointed, I know, when I talked to him in Dubai about his placing. But, I think that this is going to be something that really, once again, set the tone for the fact that here's a guy who's going to be very dangerous in years to come.
Yeah, no, he's been right there. He's improving, and I mean, I thought he was better at the Arnold than he was when he was third in the Olympia the year before. I don't know if that's due to maybe the lineup, not having Phil there, not having Ramy, who's obviously bigger than him there, beat him at the Olympia. But regardless, I thought he looked great at the Arnold, and he is a threat. I mean, he's got tons of muscle. He's the Kai Green replacement. Now that Kai's out of the way, right? He's like the guy with like the big quads, shoulders and arms. He's impressive.
I mean, the only knock against him is that he's short. That's about it.
Even though Louis Marco said he was washed up,
he'll never place top 5 in the Olympia.
Speaking
of, where is Louis Marco? That might be a story of 2018. Yeah. I haven't heard hide nor hair that guy the whole year.
I don't know. He
I'd like to believe I put him out of business.
He was. I guess what was the story? He had. I don't know.
I put him out of business. He tried to attack me, and that was the end of it. No, I won't take credit for that. But I think he became very politically active on Facebook and on YouTube, and they shut him down. That's what I heard. But,
bodybuilding politically active? Or
no, like Trump, like politically active type thing.
But pro Trump or against?
I don't know. I would guess that he's probably against Trump.
You should have had him as a call-in guest when Roger Stone was on the show.
Exactly. So that's and I think going along with that story, we'd have to say that Kamal El-Gargni winning the Arnold 212 was significant as well, because here's a guy who it took him till he was 46 to get his pro card, and he came into his first pro show and won. I mean, and it won on the Arnold Classic stage. I think that really stunned a lot of people. I don't think it stunned you because you were predicting it, but
I just knew he'd be in the. I didn't know he'd win. I just thought he'd be.
Yeah.
I thought he'd be in the mix to win.
Well, you sent me pictures of this guy 2 or 3 years prior and said, this guy's really good, and he can't get his pro card. Rafael Santoa won't give it to him. And I said, well, yeah, he's all right. I mean, he looked good in pictures. I mean, he wasn't like he wasn't blowing my mind. But for some reason, when he's on stage, standing next to guys, his conditioning and his whole look he's got is impressive. I have to admit, update pictures, he's not as impressive as up on stage.
Well, he's got. I sound like Chad. He's got thin skin. And he does have thin skin because he's older. And
but he still has muscle too because
he's got that. And he's got no injuries. He's got no tears or anything. A lot of people are 46.
Right.
They're gonna have their lat is torn or their quad is torn or they get something gets torn. He just waited to the Olympia to tear his calf. Other than that.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Forgot about that.
Now, there was some controversy recently that the other organization, as we know from last year, there was a split. The IFBB Pro League split from the IFBB Amateur League, which was, I guess, run by Rafael Santoja. And Jim Mannion runs the IFBB Pro League, and now the IFBB Pro League is running, NPC shows and other, sanctioned shows around the world where they're giving pro cards in the IFBB Pro League. Whereas Rafael started his own pro league called the IFBB Elite, and the rumor at least was that on the story that came out by Kevin Greck wrote the story that he felt that the reason why the Arnold people, the Arnold USA, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bob Lormer, removed the Arnold Classic 212 division in the year 2019 coming up is because Kamal and Rafael didn't get along well, and Arnold is friends with Rafael. I mean, do you believe that for a minute? I don't believe it.
It sounds like stupidity.
I asked I asked Bob Lormer directly. I texted him, and he told me that the reason he just felt that there wasn't enough interest in it from the top competitors. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. There might be something behind the scenes that we're not really aware of, but I don't think it had anything to do with that whatsoever.
Well, maybe they're not going to have the 212 anymore. I don't know.
Well, it seems like it's still at the Olympia. No one's saying that that's being removed. So.
Well, I mean, Flex has departed that. Right?
Which can lead to our next story. The Flex Lewis retirement. Well, not really retirement, but Flex Lewis doing his last 212 competition, winning the Olympia again. And now he's going to take a year off and supposedly come back in 2020 for the Olympia and see what he can do, which is exciting in and of itself. Hopefully in 2019 we'll get Flex Lewis on the TV show, and we'll get all the gossip from him.
Mm-hmm.
I think the 212 division is super exciting, and I'll tell you why. Because I like bodybuilding, so I like the open division. The 212 gives the shorter guys. It really is about the shorter guys. There's no tall guys in the 212 division. Gives the shorter guys the ability to compete. Trying to get that freaky mass ripped look that the open guys got, but there's within reason, because they just can't attain the level of muscularity that maybe they need to win to win an open show, so to speak. So I mean, it really reinvigorated careers like Jose Raymond's, Eduardo Correa, David Henry.
I was going to say David
Sean
Henry.
Clarita. I mean, these guys would never really probably have been significant open guys, but it made them superstars. And I think it's good to watch, because it's not like they're small guys. They're huge. They're just short, and they all have the same height, essentially. So for me, it's super exciting. Guy Sistonino, I want to throw him in the mix too. For me, it's exciting to watch these guys on stage, because it's like I'm watching an open category, and when they're all the same height, your perspective can't even tell that they're not that tall.
Well, not only that, but I don't think it's. I think there's some relationship to the idea that the 212 guys pushed the condition far more than the open guys the first few years that it was around. You'd go to like a 212 Olympia,
right?
And the guy, everyone would be crazy conditioned. Part of it because they had to make a weight, right?
Right.
But the criticism would be like, oh, the guys in the open, this guy could have been harder, that guy could have been harder, this guy could have been harder. Whereas you go down to the 212 and, 1 through 6 would be all, 1 through, 13 would be ripped to the bone.
My only criticism that I would have liked to have seen, and maybe they'll still do this in the future, I like to see the 212 Olympia winner pose down with the open winner. I don't care if the open guy wins every single time. I'd just like to see the pose down. Why can't we do it?
Yeah, it's entertaining.
How hard is that? What would it take, another 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you love to see the two of them out there calling
I
mandatories out and then freaking posing down? The crowd would go nuts.
Yeah.
You could even throw the
I
classic guy out there if you want. You don't have to, but at least the 212 in the open.
Yeah.
It's something that's so intriguing. I don't think there's anyone who listening to this would say, you know what, that's not a bad. I bet you everyone listening would say, that's a good idea. Yet, if it's such a great idea and everyone thinks it's such a great idea, why wouldn't they do it? What's the negative? What's the drawback to that?
Maybe I don't know.
Even if it was fixed and they said, you know what, the open guy's always going to win every time. At least if it was close, it would be a good controversial thing to talk about after the show.
Yeah.
To get the people's champion, I want to see the 212 guy and the open guy pose down against each other. Now, which would have been more exciting when Flex Lewis was winning, but who knows who's going to even win this year? Can Kamal be a guy who's up there? Will Lunsford step up to the plate and become the heir apparent? There's a lot of new guys also in the division, so it's going to be an interesting 212.
I don't think it's a lock by any stretch
for anyone.
I was going to say for Lunsford, he's out of his mind if he thinks it's a lock. For Kamal, he's out of his mind if he thinks it's a lock. In other words, it just, there's depth there, and there's depth with people who, if they nail it, they can leapfrog a lot of people. There's just a lot of people, and there's people that we don't even know about. There's just so many good 212 guys. How many times have I been in the Olympia the last 4 years where somebody was like 9th or 12th, and I was like, technically, really, the 12th guy, this guy, or 11th, he could have been 5 places easy higher. Right.
And look at David Henry. He cleaned up at the end of 2018. Yep. Won a couple shows. So you can't count any of these guys out, really. It's a super exciting division now that Flex is gone, because it's open. It's wide open. Jose also retiring, obviously, so that's going to take him out of the mix.
Yeah, another story.
Yeah,
most decorated.
We might see Hidetada come back down to the 212.
I think he is coming back.
He is?
I thought so.
I give Milos cut back the insulin?
I don't know. Milos is speaking Mandarin right now.
No, Milos is back from China.
Oh, is he back from China?
Yeah, it's funny. I have all these people contacting me from China now, telling me like all these different things that they've heard about how much he got paid and this and that. And it's pretty funny. Some of these guys don't like Milos. Some of them really do. I guess Milos's protocols only worked on the guy who won, got his pro card, and it didn't work on the other guys. The other guys got fat. I've heard a million rumors. Now that Boston Lloyd's the new, well, you are too, but Boston Lloyd and you are the newest gurus being imported.
I can't compete with Boston because he knows everyone's protocol, so he can just make the magic soup.
Yeah, I heard that you're too conservative from what Boston told me.
But I don't have a. But the good thing is I don't. Boston may have my protocols, but I don't have. But he doesn't have a FedEx tracking number.
Now, I have to say that the probably one of the biggest stories, and I hate to do negative stories of the year, but one of the biggest stories of the year has to be Romney bombing out at the Olympia, because here's a guy that everyone knew Phil was vulnerable this year because he was vulnerable the year before. And everyone was saying, all right, if Romney steps up to the plate this year, and, Bader was predicting Olympia gold last year at the end of 2017. So I'm thinking, here, this guy's coming in, at 6 weeks out, he looked pretty good. You said he was going to bomb. You told me right off the bat you didn't think he was going to do it, but you were right. And, not only did he not look good, he looked terrible at the prejudging. He did improve a little bit for the night show. Now Romney has moved out of Kuwait. He's living in Dubai, or he's trying to live in Dubai. That he's working on a visa or something like that, and he's going to be working with Neil Hill. And what does that mean for Ramy? You seem to have some good insights into Ramy. Are we going to see a better Ramy under Neil Hill than we saw under Bader? Will it be good enough to be his best, or what's your prediction?
I think we will see some improvement, but. I don't know I don't know where that will cause him to land in the placings.
Well, if you had to say top five, he first of all he's going to have to requalify. He didn't, because obviously he didn't place top three.
He'll do New York Pro.
So you think he'll do New York Pro, and will he win New York Pro? If he doesn't, it's a disaster, right?
Yeah, he'll win New York Pro, but it will be it'll be the New York Pro, but because there's no Olympians there, he'll look like he could have won the Olympia 40 times.
Right. Which is what happens every time. He's won the New York Pro 3 times now? 2 times?
I think a couple times.
Yeah.
So, I guess, to some degree time would tell, but if I had to speculate, he'll look good at that show, and, the Olympia's a different show. It's a high pressure show. And, to Phil's credit, going ahead a little bit, Phil has shown that he can perform well under pressure for years. But a lot of people, nerves get to him. It's a lot of stress.
Cedric, Kai, all of the, we could
it's just a big show, maybe even Bonac this year. I don't know, because people were talking about Bonac,
you slip up once, we give you a pass. He's been pretty consistent, Bonac. I think that maybe they tried something.
My point was, no, you're right. He's been extremely consistent.
And he's been consistent at the Olympia usually. So I don't think I'm going to write Bonac off as a mental case like I would necessarily maybe say like.
No, but
Kai
the
or
weight.
Cedric,
the weight on someone's shoulders.
No.
Once you get into the prep, it's like the last.
Yeah, but there's really but you know what? On a guy but if you're first or second, I think there was a lot of stress. You're right on Ramy, because he was second the year before, and people were saying he really wasn't a deserved second, which I think puts a tremendous amount of stress on you, especially if you know that that's true. If you get a placing and you really didn't deserve it, and you still haven't really figured out the formula to bring yourself in at 100%, that's a lot of pressure. Because you're like, man, maybe I'm going to be worse, and he was worse.
Yeah. Well, so he's there's going to be more pressure on him this year.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I'm looking for from you as far as prediction goes, will he be better or worse than he was last year?
I think he'll be about. He will be better. He'll be better, but not like markedly better.
Right.
That's my prediction.
Okay, we'll see if you're right. Now, another big story of the year speaking of, since we're at Olympia, and Phil, obviously, the number one story we'll talk about is Rhoden winning, Phil losing. But before we get to that, I'd like to talk about the Kai potential comeback story of the year, which I think it's only big because it's Kai, and Kai obviously was called into the AMI offices in New York City. Dan Solomon, who's, by the way, actually really the Dan Solomon story taking over as the new Olympia promoter, I think is definitely a significant story. I would say it's a top 10, because how many times you get a new promoter at the Olympia? And I think Dan has got some great new ideas, and I think we're going to see a lot of change involved, and I think it's going to really bring us into the social media age, and he's going to really update the Olympia the way it probably needed to be updated over the last couple of years, and so that's a great thing. So Dan flew into New York and met with Kai in hopes of starting talks on how they can get Kai to do the Olympia, because that's what everyone wants to see, right? Especially since Phil won't be doing the Olympia this year. It seems like a perfect opportunity for Kai to make a comeback. Now, I interviewed Kai in Dubai. Oh, by the way, he didn't contact me directly, but he told someone else who like a mutual friend, that the problem with the interview he did with me was it was a good interview, but he couldn't hear me. I said, well, that's interesting, because I couldn't hear him either. I said, I'm the loudest guy in the fucking place. If you can't hear my questions, I don't know what. How did he know how to answer the questions if he couldn't hear me?
We have to have subtitles, like in the movies next time.
No, he chose not to hear me. That was the question. That was the answer. So Kai, obviously, kind of was skirting the issue a little bit, and he was making us understand that there was some politics still that needed to be ironed out, and that he would actually like to do the Olympia, but that he didn't know if they would be able to come to terms. Now, I don't know what terms. You either sign the contract for the Olympia or you don't sign the contract. I don't know how complicated this could possibly be. I know his feelings were hurt, a couple of years ago about something that went on. But at this point, if he really wants to do the Olympia, Chris, he can just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I don't give a shit. I don't need a million stipulations, Matt. I don't need, people giving me, a dressing room with fucking, Polo cologne in there or whatever. Just do the fucking Olympia. That's all.
I agree with you.
Right.
You're either in it or you're not.
Yeah. At this point in his career, he's so popular that he doesn't need any concessions made. He doesn't need anything. He just needs to go there and do it. And you know what? The fans will love him. He will become more, even if he doesn't even win or comes in second or third, he will be the most popular guy there. He'll have the most accolades. He'll have the most people contacting after him. He'll have the most opportunities to guest pose and do appearances after that Olympia. You and I know that. I mean, Kevin Levrone came in last place, and it revitalized his whole career. He's making tons of money now with his supplement line in Europe, just from that little comeback he made. So I don't know. I don't know what, Kai is a complicated individual, obviously, and he likes to make his life complicated, because I believe that the drama aspect of it is what drives him and motivates him.
Yeah. So, I mean, where are we with it? Is he in or is he out?
I don't know. We're nowhere now. Right now, we're in no man's land. He's. I'm sure he'll let us know. I'm sure. Believe me, Dan will be making announcements if there's any decisions.
Yeah. Well, Dan may make encouraging announcements, like we're going to have a special announcement.
We're going to have a second meeting with him, right? We're going to have a second.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's exactly.
It's like the. Remember they had the Middle East peace talks between Menachem Begin and Anwar Sadat back in the 70s.
Shake hands, and
they would have three. They had 3 meetings.
At the meeting with Dan, and Dan will put out a teaser and try to get Kai to sign, and
exactly.
There'll be no ink in the pen when he was supposed to sign that day, just like he couldn't hear the questions.
Right. Another significant story, I think, of 2018, in my book at least, was the Ronnie Coleman Netflix movie that came out. Generation Iron did it on him, basically chronicling all these surgeries he's been having on his back since he stopped competing, and it was kind of sad. They really depicted Ronnie as kind of a little on the, not pathetically speaking in terms of financially, because he's driving a Bentley and he's doing very well financially, and his family life is really good. But physically, he was at the time that they shot the video, he was really suffering. He was in a lot of pain. He had undergone 8 operations, and he still wasn't walking well, and he was in tremendous agony. And a lot of people, felt bad for him. And it was it was like a wake-up call, and people were trying to, come up with ideas of, what caused this, and is he making it worse? And I'm happy to report, at least, because I didn't know, really what I stuck up from right from the beginning, and he was very grateful. When I saw him in Dubai and I interviewed him with Ronnie, if any of you guys have seen that interview that's on RxMuscle.com, he said he's out of pain. The last surgery was a success finally. He's out of pain. He's not taking any pain meds. I could see his eyes were clear. And while his walking is not perfect by any means, he does believe that now he will walk. So he said that he was misquoted by Muscle Development when they said, "Oh, Ronnie will never walk." Says he'll never walk. That was bullshit. And Ronnie will walk. Obviously, he's not going to walk like he did when he was 25, but he'll be able to get around. And Ronnie's feeling good about himself. And the funny thing is that everyone else you could feel bad for Ronnie, but Ronnie don't feel bad for Ronnie. Ronnie loves the challenge of getting up every day and trying to prove everyone wrong. And that's what he's done his whole career, if you think about it, right? No one ever suspected he would win the Olympia. I remember when he was working with Metrics that he told me, he goes, I'm going to Scott Conley. I'm flying in to see him on next week or something like that. I'm asking him for more money because I think he was only making like $29,000 a year or something like that. I was making double that. Like I wasn't even a pro. And I said, Ronnie, what? All right, let me know. And I saw him in another show. I said, whatever happened with Metrics? He's like, they told me, I got a full-time job as a cop and I don't need the money. some bullshit like that. And then obviously Ronnie won the Olympia and everything changed. But he loves to prove people wrong. He can, people can count him out, but he just loves, saying it. Look, I did it, He did that 8 years in a row, for the Olympia, and now he's doing it after the Olympia. He's still making a very good living for himself. He's got a big family. He's got young kids, and he's beating the odds again. Hopefully getting through these surgeries, and he said he needs one more. They have to straighten his back out a little bit. It's a little too. Or they have to create a curve in his back. It's a little too straight now with all the rods, I guess, they put in there. But the fact that he's out of pain is I think the big story, and because I don't. Have you ever heard anyone ever say a bad word about Ronnie Coleman?
Never. Right?
Even the people who he competed against, who he was beating.
They love him.
Flax and those guys, they like him. He's a likable guy. I heard that he bought a car for Flex Wheel. I don't know if that's true or not. When Flex was having some financial problems, but I don't know if that's true or not. Ronnie's just a nice guy. That's when I see him, I actually feel peaceful. Like no matter how stressed out you are, you look at Ronnie and you just say, this guy, nothing bothers this guy. Nothing bothers him.
He is usually smiling.
Always.
Right?
I smile a lot too, but sometimes it's a fake smile.
That's smirking.
Yeah, no. I try to be happy, but I believe that everything happens in life for a reason at the right time when it's supposed to, and sometimes it's hard to find the meaning in things that are negative in your life. I still can't figure out why I tore my quad in India, and why I can't fix it.
I was just gonna ask you, what about the quad?
I don't know. Well, think about it this way: if I didn't tear my quad, I never would have met my wife, Amanda. Or I would have never at least started dating her. I knew her before that, but I would have never started dating her because she was a physical therapist. So that's the reason.
There you go. That's it. For sure.
Now I keep saying when I say my prayers, I keep saying, all right, well, now that I'm already married, can you fix my leg now? Can we get this thing fucking fixed now?
Yeah. Now that I needed that broken knee for the to get married and have kids.
Right. I already did that. Now can you fix it now on me? Can I go and get this thing fixed? I'm actually looking to go get it fixed again. Yeah. I really don't want to. I've done everything else.
You're pushing your luck. You got both shoulders
I
back.
need them both done. Now that's my next. If I can get my quad fixed, even functional, to 50 to 75% of what it is now, I would be thrilled. Believe me, and I would be a happy camper. So that's my next journey. There was a Dr. Palumbo in the same building and working at the same hospital. And probably 60 people must have asked me when I was at the hospital. And when do you know you related to Dr. Brian Palumbo? And he's an orthopedic, and he does knees, ironically enough. But I don't know if he does quads. I think he just does knee replacements. He's supposedly an upcoming guy. Anyway, when I was getting fitted for the sling, my new sling, and the slings are horrendous. I don't even wear them. They suck. he's like, yeah, he asked me, he goes, are you related to Dr. Palumbo? I know. He goes, he's a bodybuilder. I said, oh, really? That's pretty funny. Yeah, he works out. He tore his bicep. How funny is that? He tore his bicep. I said, oh, really? Yeah. He's like, yeah, all he was doing is complaining how these slings are terrible. He said, they suck. He goes, can't you guys make a good sling? I said, he must be related to me. I said, because that's exactly what I've been saying since the last operation. Can't you guys fucking make a sling that's comfortable and that works? The thing slides off my arm all the time. He's like, yeah, these things are not the greatest. So I thought that was pretty funny.
You got to have him on the show. Yeah.
I got to find out if he does quads. Because they said he's young and he's very progressive thinking. I think he only does knee replacements. So I need someone who could think outside the box. That's what I need. I'm looking. I know I'm going to attract the right person. Now that I'm putting it out to the universe, it's going to come back to me. I know it. Always does. All right, let's go to the final story of 2018, which is obviously, well, you know what? No, but before we do that, I want to talk about the Rulli Winkler third place Olympia. I think that is a huge, significant story. Also, the fact that Rulli lost to Bonac at the Arnold USA last year.
He was fourth.
The second week, 2 weeks later.
He was fourth at the Arnold.
Right. 2 weeks later, he won the Arnold Australia and beat Bonac, which I thought was super significant, which I thought was a little foreshadowing that, hey, this guy's going to be very dangerous at the Olympia. He finishes third at the Olympia. A lot of people thought he could have won the Olympia, but obviously he didn't have the structure of a Rhoden. He certainly could have beat Phil, possibly, and I think that Rulli has really established himself as one of the guys to beat. When you get into that top three, you're a dangerous guy, and on any given day, you could win a show. And I think that Rulli has to be considered one of the favorites going into the Arnold.
I would agree with that. 100%.
If he would have won the Arnold, I would say that would make him at least the number 2 competitor, the number 2 contender.
Without a doubt. If he won the Arnold, that would be major league, because it would, it put Bonac in the rearview mirror, and put him more important, in the front seat, headed into the Olympia, and he's got some freaky muscle shots. He's got freaky muscle.
I think he's way more dangerous than Bonac is to Shawn Rhoden because of his size.
His height and width.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I mean, he's got height and he's got width. And
when Rhoden's on, he really can't lose to Bonac, but just because Bonac's just not tall enough. But Rulli's got the height and the like you said, the width. Plus the muscle and freaky conditioning.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to get Beta on to get their summation of how the Arnold prep is going.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully whatever the formula they got for Rulli, they continue to use it because it's looking great. And you know what? We've been talking about Rulli for how many years? Almost 10 years now. And this guy just keeps getting better and better.
We actually talked about him at the New York Pro, and people were like, what are you talking about? Right? Remember that New York Pro that was a stacked New York Pro?
Yeah.
The first year, I think they had it. I don't know where.
That's the one he won, right?
No, it was Dexter won.
Oh, because he won. Remember? He won one of those New York Pros. He looked really good.
I know he did early in his career, very early in his career, but just recently, it was in like the last 3 years, maybe three years ago. The year before Sergio won, so it was Sergio won after him, and then who won this year? The British guy.
Yeah, Nathan
won this year. So it must have been 3 years ago that Rulli went to New York, and he just looked crazy massive. And I think you and I had him as the winner. And
that's right. And that's why Dexter doesn't talk to us anymore.
Yeah, no. People are like, what are you talking about? Just because, but a lot of people thought, like, what are you talking about? You can't beat Dexter Jackson. And that day, I was like, yeah, he technically could have, because he was, bigger, obviously. Right. And, he was hard enough.
I think he's got to be considered one of the most dangerous guys out there now. And as long as, he can keep duplicating that conditioning he's been bringing in with that fullness, it's tough to beat. He brought his waist down, too. I don't know what they've been saran wrapping his waist with, but definitely looked better. And Rulli's certainly a dangerous guy, and that's got to be one of the top stories of 2018. But the number one story of 2018 has got to be Phil Heath losing after winning 7 Mr. Olympias, losing the title, Shawn Rhoden winning, finally putting it all together after all these years at the age of 43 years, beating Phil. And I mean there's no odds makers that could have laid that bet down, and I don't think there would have been a single person. Maybe you would have taken that bet, but most people would never have taken that bet. Yeah, Shawn Rhoden's going to win the Olympia this year, beating Phil Heath. When Phil's going for number 8, and I think that there's no story bigger than that, and it was a huge underdog story. Especially given the fact that Rhoden had the stomach ulcer, he had to drop out of the Arnold this earlier in the year, which showed that he arguably could have easily have won. And he had to really just suck it up for the whole year until the Olympia, and he worked his hardest and brought his best, and he won. And he's Mr. Olympia, and I don't think anyone would have predicted that.
I mean, it's such a big story. I think for a lot of people, it hasn't sunk in yet. Literally this far after the show, that Phil, who people thought would, certainly Phil thought he'd never get beat.
No.
And a lot of fans thought that Phil could never lose.
And why would he? I mean, you got guys like Jay Cutler walking around saying Phil wins. Phil wins number 8.
No. Well, the flip side of that is Jay was the one who had Shawn on Jay's YouTube station a few weeks out, and they had a long conversation, and Shawn said, "I'm absolutely winning this year. Period. It's done." Right,
but do you think that Jay actually believed that?
I
don't think so. I think he did. I think Jay did it as a favor to you because obviously you guys are all mutual friends. But I mean, made him look good by the fact that Shawn did win. But I think it established a level of confidence for Shawn that he didn't have in the years past.
Yeah, no, he was 100% confident coming into the show, and confidence sometimes is half to success, and I think a lot of people though, go up against. I'll say this: if you backtrack to the press conference, really, I don't think anyone at a press conference has had the balls to say, "I'm winning." I mean, Shawn said that at the press conference in 15, and he said it this year in 18.
I have to stop you there. I would say that Jay Cutler probably said it every single year he was in the press, sitting in the press conference, and they asked him. Don't you think?
No. I mean, not the. I mean, just recently going against Phil. So people like the last 5 or 6 years who were going up against Phil, they kind of like
right.
They're there to.
I'm doing my best.
They're doing their best. I mean, you have Dexter who might say, I can beat him if he's off a little bit, but Dexter doesn't come out and say, I'm winning the show.
Right.
Sure. And it was Shawn who said, very aggressively at the press conference, I'm winning.
And why do you think he said that? Do you think he said that because he knew that,
I told him he was winning.
Right. I know you told him. But I'm just saying, I think it gets to a point where you realize, what, if I don't put the goods on the table this year, I may miss my window, and that
I think the window for Shawn, the window got slammed shut when he broke his jaw.
Right.
Right. That was partially the door shutting, and then instead of and he got 5th. People said he was done and washed up, and then he was getting ready for the Arnold, and he was without a shadow of a doubt his all-time best 6 weeks out. Better than the Olympia, for sure. I just texted that today to Stan, who trains with them. Mm-hmm. And I think I sent it to Jose, too. I was texting him about, how we were doing our own end-of-the-year wrap-up shows.
Sure.
Via text. And I think that was a big punch to the gut because I think he thought, okay, I had my jaw, I had that jaw issue, and I ended up in 5th place. But I'm coming back.
Well,
and he was
he broke his jaw, but he also had a stomach bleeding ulcer. That was the reason.
No,
why
I mean, but that was he had the broken jaw at the Olympia, and people thought he was washed up. He got 5th place, so that was like door number 1 closing technically on his career, and then door number 2 closed 6 weeks out from the Arnold, and for him, this show was just, this is it. I'm either going to do it. And, with a jaw that's not broken, and I'm, hopefully my stomach and my, bleeding ulcers are taken care of. They were. And, he just put it all on the line.
Yep.
And, it paid off.
Yeah.
In other words, there had to have been in his mind, you know, I have to do it. I have to do it this year, or it's not going to happen.
Maybe Sean's been smelling his wife's farts and stuff like that. Maybe that's why he regenerated so well.
No, he's got a baby, so he's you know, he's got
sniffing a lot of poopy diapers. Yeah. I know about those. I think that's why I'm so vital now. People say, "Yeah, Dave, you look younger than you've ever looked." Well, I'm sniffing a lot of fucking poops. Not only do I sniff baby poops, I sniff snake poops and dog poops and
cow
kitty
poops.
cat poops. So the poops are good for you. I knew it. I had a feeling.
You got the zebra on the way.
Yeah, if I get some farm animals, I'll be smelling their poops and all that nice hydrogen whatever gas is gonna. Let me see, what is that gas? I don't know. I hate misquoting myself. The hydrogen sulfide gas is regenerating my mitochondria, and that's what probably happened to Phil. That's what happened to that might be Dexter's. You know, for all we know, Dexter could sleep in a barn every night. Maybe that's why he's so great at such a old age.
Yeah. How old is Dexter? I don't even know.
He's like a year younger than me. I think he's like only a year or two younger than me. I think he's probably going to be. He's going to be 50 or something like that this year. There's no way he's not 50. He's only like a year younger than me, I think. And I'm going to be 51 in February, so he's got to be turning 50 this year.
Is Dexter doing the Arnold?
I heard Dexter. No, he's not. I heard he's doing one more show. I think he wants to get one more win in. I'm sure. I can't imagine him not finishing with the Olympia too. But I think he wants to get one more win under his belt to make 30 wins. I think that's what he's going for. A record that will never be beat.
That's why I'm laughing. Nobody will ever even come remotely, in any way, shape, or form, close to that.
I mean, who could in this day and age? I don't think anyone has that kind of longevity. But again, there's always records are made to be broken, so we shouldn't say never.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. You have to get Ron Norman to add up the contest the contest winnings for 30 wins.
There you go. So anyway, I want to just tell everyone that, you know, thank you for all your support. I know all you guys love all the programming we always have every single year. We just completed 10 years at RxMuscle.com. This February 9th will be the official 10th year, and we'll be starting year number 11, but we've given you 10 years of programming. It's crazy to even think about that. Never missed a radio show, not 1 week.
Ever.
And we've always tried to reinvent ourselves and create original programming for you guys that is something that you guys can watch and get behind and really enjoy and learn and maybe laugh a little bit. You know, Chris and I got to make you laugh a little bit, you know, because if I don't make myself laugh and if I don't make Chris laugh, then the show is just too boring. So.
Well, we have laughs. We have inside joke laughs before the show starts.
That's right. With the real show is before the show and after the show, but you guys get like a.
I'm the
90,
only one, Dave, who can guess
90%
stuff like you didn't give me a chance to guess the zebra.
Yeah,
but before the
I'll
show starts,
I'll tell in a few weeks. I'll tell everyone who.
Yeah,
you
said
guessed.
you'll never guess, and I'm like, yeah, I'll guess. I got it right off the bat.
I'll give you credit when it's the time's right.
It's my prediction. It's like the prediction show.
That's right.
Dave Palumbo prediction show. I predict you'll win. I predict you'll win that lottery too.
I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I really do. I believe it.
Because, Dave, how crazy is it? I go to the animal farm and I'm like, my kids said, well, Dave Palumbo's got more snakes and more stuff going on at his house than this animal farm, and you know.
Chris didn't tell me he was going there. I was going to hook him up with the venomous snake keeper there. He would have you would have got the VIP tour behind the scenes. But I'll tell you what, we've been seeing alligators in our backyard like 2, 3 every single day. I don't know if this is like alligator breeding season or what's going on, but there's a lot of alligators. Luckily, they're not on my shore; they're on across the way. But
yeah,
they're
but they
out
can
there.
swim. What's to keep them from coming on your shore?
I don't know. I just they like the other side better. Maybe the sun is better on the other side. But the animals around them don't seem to be. There's birds right next to them. There's like goats. They're not bothering anyone. They're just. That's why I think maybe they're breeding. I think the other animals know when the gators are in the breeding season because because a lot of reptiles don't eat while they're in the breeding season during the winter. They kind of like will go off food a little bit. So I have a feeling the other animals get really brave all of a sudden because they can realize that. Unfortunately, if an alligator decides he wants a fucking snack in the middle of the night, there's a lot of fucking options out there. That's for sure.
Well, they're fast movers, man. Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you saw it up close. I mean, they're crazy. Yeah. They're a little too big for me to like play around with. Like, I don't mind. I have some big snakes and some. There's certain reptiles that I probably mess around with that could be considered potentially dangerous. I'd love to get a water monitor, but I don't think I would ever mess with an alligator. They're like dinosaurs. That's like having a dinosaur. You don't know. The dinosaurs, have their own freaking agendas. You don't want to.
Any little animal that has unlimited amounts of teeth.
Any animal that can bite my hand and not just leave like a mark. Like your snake bites your hand, you got like a puncture wound. I don't want an animal that could take my finger off or my hand off, for that matter. That's a little too dangerous.
Yeah, like I said, if they lose all 200 of their teeth, they come back no matter how many times.
That's true.
That's what I learned at the alligator farm.
That's right. They regenerate. I got to quiz your kids when I see them next. See if they learned everything.
Well, they probably get an attitude, but
yeah, well, they're teenagers now. That's why.
Yeah.
My son is going to be 3. He just started his terrible 2s. He's like delayed a year. Everything he does, he's delayed a year. And
you were hoping he wasn't going to get him.
No, he's terrible. When he gets in his moods, oof, he's brutal.
Yeah.
He becomes. He's so my dad. It's unbelievable. It's like I just I can't believe I'm dealing with my dad again.
Yeah, it goes right in the bloodstream. Isn't it insane?
My son will sit at dinner. I gobble down my dinner in like 30 seconds. My father was one of these people that would sit there for hours and just take his time. He'd eat, he'd read the newspaper, whatever he's doing. And I come back like an hour. I'm like, you're still eating? He's like, well, don't rush me. When I was a kid, I had all these brothers and sisters. My parents would put the food out. If I turned around, all the food was gone. I'm like, because you're too slow of an eater. He's like, well, now I can do it. I'm in my old age. I think he was a slow eater his whole life because my son's the same way. If you don't stick the food in my son's mouth, he can feed himself because when he's hungry, I see him. He'll take the first couple bites, but once the hunger is gone, he will take his time. He'll draw it out. You'll think he's done, and then you'll stick another forkful in his mouth, and he'll eat it. He likes to be. He's like my dad. He likes to be catered to. He wants to be fed, and he wants us to. He's been into this Thor and Hulk movie, and he's battling everyone. Everything he's got like sticks, and he's taking guitars, and he's trying to like sword fight me on everything. Yeah. So I went out and bought him these lightsabers. They're like Star Wars lightsabers. They're like they're swords, but they're like made of plastic.
Careful with that knee. I've got more. You've got a bad knee. I've got more knee injuries from lightsaber. I'm dead serious.
Really. So I got on these things. They kind of like make a every time they hit each other, they light up, whatever. Yeah. They were like $4 a piece. I'm like, you know what? I'd rather him whack things with that than hit my daughter with a guitar or something like that because he's crazy, So now all he wants to do is sword fight me. And I have to, you can't turn around for a second. You'll get whacked in the head,
Well, that's I'm telling you, Dave. There's another Chris Aceto prediction show for Dave's life. The knee. Be careful of the knee.
Yeah, he better not take my knee out.
Because they have a blast. He'll think it's a blast sneaking up on you when you're not looking. Whack you, and you won't believe how much force a 2-year-old.
Oh, he swings. His whole body is in the air practically. Yeah. He's like a Jedi. He's like flying in the air, like hit me with the lightsaber.
And he thinks it's funny.
Oh, and he thinks he's Thor, and he's like, you know what he says? He says, "Die, die, die." My wife doesn't like this because there's like a scene in one of the Thor movies where they're killing the bad guys. Yeah. So he doesn't know. He's crazy. But I'm sure I was exactly like him. But not the way the eating. The eating thing is my dad 100%. So I'm dealing with that. But once again, all our fans out there, all the followers, everyone who watches and listens to our stuff, I want to wish you all a very happy New Year. Be safe. Don't do anything crazy. There's still another 365 days in the year. You don't have to get it all out tomorrow. Or tonight, I should say. And Chris, I don't know if you're going to be coming out here or not, but Happy New Year to you and your family. And of course, I have to tell you, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
How does it feel to have that birthday on the 30th every year?
It's
Have you gotten gypped on Christmas presents and
Christmas,
New Year's?
And my sister's born on the 31st, so.
Oh, that's even worse.
Like, commiserate with me.
All right, well, Happy New Year to your family, Chris. I guess we'll reconvene next year. Until next week, until next year, with Heavy Muscle Radio.
The truth hurts.
Good night, everyone. Have a healthy, happy, and safe New Year.